I'm Tom Vassell.
I'm Z Garcia. Hello.
Sam Healy. Welcome back, y'all.
So, today we're doing a top 10 list on an unimportant topic, in my opinion.
Oh, that's messed up.
Well, no, this is one that's highly requested from people.
Then it's not unimportant.
But
You mean it's a question that has not perhaps titillated you?
I guess, okay, not unimportant. It's not that useful.
That's right. I said it. Titillation.
It's not useful to people. You know, like many of our top 10 lists, like our top 10 party games. Oh, I can go find these party games.
Right.
Here, we're just making stuff up.
Well, yeah. Well, it's a wish list kind of thing. It's just sort of talking about things we think. That's okay.
Yeah, we've done this kind of stuff
We
before.
did that one, like the one we want to see deluxe videos of. So what this is we're talking about games we like to see given the legacy treatment, which is a total of like 5 games right now.
What is the legacy treatment, Tom?
The legacy treatment is when a game
I'm glad you asked first, but go ahead.
That's a good question.
Amateur.
It's a good question.
That's a good question.
As opposed to the rest. Anywho,
Oh my goodness.
a legacy game is where certain things persist from one game to the next. So maybe there's
Like if I punch you now, you have a black eye tomorrow.
threats.
Yeah.
It's on video now.
HR.
That's it.
Call HR.
That's me. But anywho, sometimes it's ripping cards up, putting
Right.
stickers on the board, writing on the board, etc.
Does it require some permanent changes? Is that the thing?
Permanent changes in the state of the game. While the game itself, the core basis of the game, remains the same.
Got it.
We have Risk Legacy, Pandemic Legacy, Seafall, then to a lesser extent, Gloomhaven. We didn't play test this game at all, Legacy. And then announced Pandemic Legacy 2.
Right.
Stegmaier has a game that's announced. What's that called? Charterhouse?
Charterstone.
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 I remember because it has his name in the title.
Ooh, maybe he'll change. Anywho.
What?
That's the second time he's said anywho.
Yeah, I know. I just realized that. I think it's actually the third time. So anyway.
Got him.
Let's get started. This is the best stuff. These are the games that we would like to see have the legacy treatment.
Number 10.
All right, my number 10 is a racing game. I thought it would be cool if Formula D had like a spot where you actually take your players through an entire season. Your cars, your
Humans.
teams, the pit crews, the crew chiefs, and all this other kind of stuff, and all that stuff are like all those things are like moving parts throughout the course of an entire season. And I know you can do some of that with the street racing side, where you can customize your car a little bit and make changes that way. But I'm talking about going kind of the next echelon and staying inside the formula racing spectrum.
Okay.
Not going the street racer way, although that could be done as well in almost the same direction. But I thought it would be interesting that you would go through a circuit of different races in different cities, and you would go through them, and what happens in each race stays on that track. Like the track gets messed up because this person gets into a wreck, and that part of the track stays messed up for your next race. And I just thought it would be interesting. You could enter in like sponsorships and a number of different things. I think it would probably greatly bloat the game.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what Legacy
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think
does anyway.
That's what's going to
Most of
happen
these
to 8 out of 10 of each of the
Right.
games that we're talking about if we really, if they.
But I thought it would be an interesting take. My number 10, Formula D.
All right, my number 10. I want to see a Euro game legacyized, legicized. And
Legalized?
Legalized?
no, that's a different word.
No.
Anyway, I'd like to see this done to one, so I'm picking Caverna. Or a game like
I
that
would
where...
totally.
Would you? I was caught by a sarcasm net. Anyhow, stop saying a word. All right, so I would like to see like different cards, different new rooms become
You
available
just
as
want an
time comes by.
expansion, I'm pretty sure is what you said. I think that's what he's saying. Come on, man. I don't care if it's Legacy. I want new things to do in that game. Caverna, what would evolve, you think? Would you will find new places out there that unlock new rooms?
Yeah, and then maybe
There's that exploration aspect which Agricola did not have, where you go out on an adventure.
right, and that going out on adventures could cause you to find something, and you flip a
would be
card
cool.
over, and now there's new things, and
That would
now
work.
you found the elves, and I don't know. I think it'd be
And
interesting.
They spat upon you and kicked
No,
you
that's
out
a
of
good
the
idea,
realm.
actually. I could see you tying into it with the whole exploring.
Of course, then everybody would be exploring all the time.
Yeah, you'd never actually play.
No,
the
but you
rest
could
of the
explore.
game.
You'd have to retweak a game. You know, you can't just be like, now it's Legacy, and boom.
True.
There's some on my list that are just won't work without some serious retweaking. You know,
All right. Well, anyway,
that's cool.
Caverna. So you went from being sarcastic to supportive. I like that.
Oh, that's how I do it. My number 10 is Legends of Andor, which is a very fantastical, sort of straightforward fantasy game, co-op with a story sort of aspect to it, and I think this is probably the one actually on the list that could most easily get the Legacy treatment. I think because it's already story driven,
Gloomhaven, I mean,
Gloomhavenized. Yeah.
but you wanted a more streamlined, shorter game.
Yes, right. And again, having that story-driven aspect where you complete one thing and then you get another piece of the mission or whatever within a single sitting, And then next time you sit down for the next part of whatever the king wants to send you out to do, your characters have changed, the land has changed, some monster that you attacked but didn't kill now holds a grudge against you. That's what I'm
Ooh,
talking
I like
about,
that.
right? And so that's it. It's just this one again. I think it would not be it probably is difficult. I mean, this one's not outside the realm of possibility to have a Legends of Andor legacy. So that's my number 10.
Cool.
Number 9.
All right, my number 9 is Carson City. I like the idea of Carson City. Carson City itself has you building this town in the middle there, and you're fighting over the different things in town.
Yeah.
And there are different, with the Carson City Deluxe, there are many different characters who show up.
Right.
It already could be put in the legacy system where there's a few characters. And as time goes by, you find characters. When you build a bank, the first time you build a bank, the banker
Banker
comes to
shows up.
town,
Right, right.
And different things will happen. Maybe there was an outlaw attack, and now this section over here is now outlaw area. And I mean, I think the whole Wild West theme, you could have like a story behind that as different things happen. I wanted a Wild West legacy game, period. This seemed to be the best basis for that, Carson City.
Interesting. I like that. Well, my number 9 is a game that I don't see how they would take this system and make it legacy, but I like the theme. Kind of like you want a Wild West, I want a spy legacy game, and Covert is the one I thought of. I think Covert is a really interesting Euro game about traveling around Europe, finding clues, leaving clues behind for other people to find, cracking codes, all of that stuff. And I think that setting, that concept, in a legacy game could work very well. Again, I have no idea how I would implement that, but I would love to see the idea of you having a personality, your avatar, if you would, evolve over games. Learn new things, have new abilities, discover new locations, build your own safe house somewhere that the other players don't know about, that you can go back to resupply, whatever. But, heavily... all about the espionage of the setting. So that's my number 9, Covert.
Well, my number 9 is based on Police Precinct. Police Precinct. I thought it would be interesting to have, since it's all about, and I talk about this because we've talked about Police Precinct, and you've brought up the thing once before, Z, where you're just go to a different part of town.
Well, it's like
This
2
is-
square blocks or something, and it's like the worst town in the world. Everything's happening there.
So what I was thinking is, in order to make it more of a legacy type game, it would be the entire city and you would be the police department instead of just one precinct.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'd buy that game.
And you would be, of course, trying to quell lawlessness all over, but that is going to have an effect on the city. It's going to have an effect on the people that are living in these different neighborhoods, and all of this stuff are things that you have to kind of keep track of throughout the course of the game. I just thought it would be a cool idea for a legacy style game where you go for 1 year. And the goal is to have crime drop, I don't know, whatever, some arbitrary percentage or what have you, over the course of that year. And if you do, you win. And however close you get to it, that's how many points, whatever. But I just thought Police Precinct would be a cool legacy kind of game.
Huh, I didn't expect to see that one on your list. Cool.
That's interesting, though. I like that, yeah.
He's liking all our ideas.
So far,
Number 8.
my number 8 is the King of series. King of Tokyo, King of New York. Either one, really. And the main thing that made me want to see this as a legacy game is the idea of having the monsters, which started off as very, very generic. Then eventually they got those power-up cards, made them less generic. Really taking that idea and running with it, having them gain permanent powers, having them claim places that they will then start from in the city. Obviously, I'm thinking of a game that would be much more in-depth, than King of Tokyo. But that idea of having the monsters, the bad guys in the game, be the ones that get souped up and rampage and all of that stuff. So, I don't know. I like that one.
Let's run with this. The city is slowly working on their technology too.
Right.
And I would love if in this game it was like Risk Legacy, where at the beginning of each game we're picking which monster we are.
Right,
It's not
so
just
you can
your
make one
monster.
better, but then someone else could draft it first or whatever. yeah.
Right.
You got to be careful what you do. But yeah,
And it's possible for a monster to die.
it would be completely out of the game, sure.
That'd
So
be amazing.
it's more the King of New York aspect, because already that game has police fighting back,
Right.
military development, buildings that you crush. But if you attacked a certain part of town and took it down, it would stay that way.
Right.
Who knows, right? So that's sort of what I was thinking of with that one. So I'm gonna say King of New York. I'm gonna specifically say that one just because there's more game.
I didn't think about that one. That's a good one.
So that's my number 8.
All right, my number 8 is
We're being very supportive on this list.
I know.
already it's already a large game, so it would probably be really bloated if it got given the legacy treatment, but that is Scythe. And I thought that the board game, the board, and that's one of the things
Somebody
that I
out
thought
there
about
started
this
drooling.
game, about this list, is that you almost kind of have to have a game that already has a board to it, because that's what's going to hold most of these permanent changes.
The rest of mine are all card games.
So yeah, it's going to be difficult.
A trick-taking game. We rip up a suit.
Rip up a whole suit.
Wow, a whole suit. But anyway, I was thinking with Scythe, since it's a war game, because there's a war going on, much like in Risk Legacy, there were parts of the board, areas of the board that were just completely done away with.
Right.
Throughout, well, that's not it is a spoiler, but anyway.
I don't think that's necessarily exact anyway, but I get what you're saying. You would change the landscape.
Yeah, you would, and entire regions were nuked. I'm just going all the way.
I'm trying to back you off.
You
of
are,
the
but
spoiler, but
I'm already there.
here's what happens at first. Okay, you open up the first.
Stop, Z!
He was dead all along.
So I was thinking that that would be a cool aspect to put into this Scythe universe of not only changing up how the board, but also how Risk Legacy changed up each individual person. You're already different. You're already asymmetrical
Right.
to begin with, but just having everybody get better at what they're doing.
Like have
over
the
course.
world adapt to what you're doing.
Yeah,
to it,
yeah.
basically.
I just thought it would be a cool universe to do that in.
I would make it a Civ game where you actually start so far back in history that all you have is a scythe, and you have to go out there and just
Okay. Anyway, let's
just
move
say
on.
make that title make some sense.
Stop. My number 8 is Flashpoint Fire Rescue. Very similar to what you were saying with Police Precinct.
A whole fire
Where the
department.
fire learns.
No, but where you
I'm just getting
again, I think I would
warmed up.
zoom out to the city.
The whole thing's burning.
That's what I
Post-apocalyptic?
said.
Would it be post? I have
No.
a question.
No.
Would it be post-apocalyptic?
No,
No.
not.
I hate your
Post-apocalyptic
game.
firefighting. Anyway, no, it would have like a modular place. Like you go to this place and then you're building like Descent style at the house. You got to rescue people, and as time goes by, it could go post-apocalyptic for all I care.
Oh, I'm back on this idea. I like it. I want to fight.
Flashpoint Fire Rescue, I think would be
Fallout
fun.
fires.
Go. Oh,
Mad
let's-
Max was a police officer.
He was. It's gonna be one good game that comes out of all this. One.
One.
Number 7.
My number 7 is a negotiation game called City of Horror, in which you are surviving a zombie apocalypse, but you are the main way in which you do that is dealing with the other players. It's not so much about dealing with the zombies as it is about dealing with each other, who you throw out to the zombies when the places in which you are holed up get overrun. And that's an interesting game mechanism around which to set a legacy game. And that would be, again, I'm not a game designer, but that would be an interesting concept to tackle in a game that continues to evolve, in a city that continues to evolve. And again, you would have to probably pull the camera back a little bit, because in that game you're looking at like one cross section, four roads and a water tower. You probably have to pull back a little bit more to see maybe one city, but that could be interesting with how you negotiate with other people, because you're not just the game isn't just evolving. You, the players, and I don't mean the player characters, I mean the players are evolving from game to game with how much you believe other people, how much you trust other people, and that would be interesting. It's like a different kind of.
There'd be no evolution. First game, like I don't trust Z. 20th game, same.
But what if I was completely trustworthy for those 19 games?
That's a great joke.
That was like capital letters. What if?
What? Yeah. What if I'm lying now?
Dot,
You are.
And
later.
City of Horror is my number 7. I think that could be really interesting.
All right, for me, I definitely wanted something Star Wars-y in here, and so I'm picking Star Wars Rebellion. I really
Wow.
think.
Big 2-player one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I think it would be the most
huge
interesting. It doesn't have to be Star Wars Rebellion. I mean, it starts out, the game now is where the Empire is finding the Rebels' base.
Right.
But then the next game could be now they found the base and now the base has been moved or this has been happened. There's a lot of stuff you could do. You could follow like this whole storyline. It wouldn't even have to be like the main Star Wars storyline. It could be side plots and
So
things.
campaign-ish kind of game. But
Campaign,
if you
things
took out
would
a
happen.
planet or whatever, the planet's gone.
Right. If the Death Star blows up a planet, that's
I
gone.
love it. I would just go around blowing up planets.
Yeah, but when the Death Star is gone, it would take a while for it to come back
Yeah.
too.
Not just 2 turns, right?
You build that, I'll build 3.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. I like the idea of Star Wars. I like the idea of this almost. I think Caverna might have been the only, well, maybe one of the only few Euro games. Most of mine have a story behind
Oh,
them.
absolutely.
Right,
And
and
it's
so that's
kinda
the whole
almost
thing.
required. I mean, for a legacy game,
Have to have a story.
I have a couple that are like, and again, I wouldn't know how to make them legacy. I just hope somebody can. But
Your job.
they almost require that really solid theme to
I'm
pull
the
you in.
idea guy.
That's right. However, we want 10% when these games come into play.
Right.
We gave you that spark. What do you got?
All right, my number 7 is I was thinking that XCOM the board game would do well in a legacy format because in the original, in the video game, it's very legacy-ish.
It's a legacy video game.
because every decision you make changes.
Right, your guy
the
gets
game.
killed. He's dead.
Right. So I.
Until you gotta go back to my
That's
last
one of the
save.
things that XCOM the board game I thought didn't do very well in covering the board game. Plus, I wanted it to be more of the actual going out on missions and fighting the aliens that way. It was a much more administrative look at XCOM
That's a good way to put it,
than
yeah.
it was anything else. But with a legacy game, you could have both of those
Right.
going on at the same time. You could have the administrative part where you're making decisions that affect your troops that are in the field, and then you could also have the troops that are in the field making decisions, and certain locations would get blown to smithereens, whereas they do better on some. Right. And so I thought that XCOM would is actually probably pretty ripe for a legacy style treatment. Not that I think it's going to happen, but it would be really cool if it did. So that's my Number 7, XCOM the board game.
Number 6.
All right, my number 6, let's go into the realm of superheroes. And I'm going to say Sentinels of the Multiverse here. I'd love to see one where, again, there's some sort of bad guy that you're fighting, and maybe a hero gets killed in the fight. Well, that hero is gone, but then another hero will show up. And as the game goes by, villains will show up to the city, heroes will leave, heroes might suddenly evolve new powers, same with the villains, they get thrown in prison, there's a chance they escape from prison, you gotta fight them again. If you're wearing glasses, no one knows who you are, things like that.
Okay. I like it.
Sentinels is a fun game, I really do enjoy it, but I'd love to see more of a, right now
You
it's
want
very
it to be that
scenario-based.
fake superhero stuff is what you would want? New, not
The reason I would pick the original superheroes is because you can just kill people off. Even when
well, they do that in the comics anyway.
I understand that, but like
bring
I
it
just
back
talked about
later
Star
on,
Wars. Star Wars would almost have to be a separate universe. Like, for example, Star Wars Imperial Assault.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be that you follow these people who aren't even main characters.
Oh, I see what you're saying. 'Cause
You
you
have
can't
to
make
do
it
that.
like Luke and so yeah, because it's maybe weird.
You can't
break,
kill 'em.
Right, you would break
You
the
could do it in
theme.
Rogue One, though.
Huh?
You could do it with Rogue One, though.
Anyway, But-
Was that spoilers?
so this is. So anyway, I wouldn't do it with Marvel and DC because those characters are like definitive characters.
I get what you're
So
saying.
you don't want to kill Spider-Man even if he dies in the comics. You can't kill him in the game. In this game, though, you don't know who this person is. You kill
I
them
guess I don't
off.
care about that. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be affecting the storyline
Of the comics.
for real. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
I would
but people-
love that. Like there's more heft to you saying, "Oh, Spider-Man just died
Right.
in my game," than like faceless Iron Man ripoff number 2 over here just died.
Yeah, and I was
Not if you get into them.
no,
I guess so.
But at the same time, I mean that would be part of the legacy aspect.
Yeah.
In my game, Spider-Man died. In his game, Thor died.
Yeah, but they're never going to allow that.
Why wouldn't they?
Because I mean, it doesn't do.
Oh, Marvel? No,
I don't know. I guess you're
allow
right.
that.
No, I
Those
guess you're right.
licensee people want
I'm just
their
saying I would
characters
like
get
that
killed in the
theme
game.
more. Sam and I would play. I would actively try to kill Spider-Man.
As playing Spider-Man.
I like Spidey.
Yeah, you back off,
All right, fine.
Goblin.
Is it me?
Oh, he's wearing green.
No, it's Sam.
He's wearing green.
No, yes, it's Sam.
Go, Sam, before I throw a pumpkin over there.
You be
6.
quiet. I like pumpkins. All right, my number 6. Another one that I thought would be pretty cool it's another space theme, but I like sci-fi, and that is Level 7 Omega Protocol.
See, I thought about this with the last one you
yeah.
said.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So that I thought aliens could adapt to our weaponry, so that we would have to. I mean, almost kind of like what
very XCOM,
what happens in XCOM. Yeah. So it is a little bit the same. The only problem that I saw or that I thought of is that this is a modular board setup, and I don't know if it's necessarily a problem. Maybe it's just a hitch that I'm having, but. Just there has to be I guess I think that there needs to be a board that holds all of these permanent things, and a modular setup just doesn't lend itself to that. So it would have to be only if they kept the modular board setup, it would have to be only part of the game. So I don't know how it would work, but I just thought it would be interesting where the Marines are going to be upgrading their weapons and their abilities. They're going to learn. Maybe they. Begin to, and again, it's just the more I think about it, this is very much like XCOM, where they begin to, pump in some alien DNA into their bodies so that they become kind of spliced together with other kinds
It
of.
never ends well. It
So-
never ends
You're telling me
well.
if you had some alien DNA laying around, you wouldn't do a little bit of it? Come on, man.
I might.
There you go.
But anyway, that's my number 7, and thinking about it now, it's a lot like that's my number 6.
Make XCOM Omega Protocol, and you're good to go.
There you go. There
That's
you
a new
have
top
it.
10 list.
That's-
Combined 2 games.
Write it down, man. That's
right.
All right.
So
it's
anyway,
me, my number 6.
that's it.
Go ahead.
Did you just say go ahead to yourself?
No, I interrupted him. I felt bad. Anyway. My number 6 is Mr. Vassal's favorite game of all time, Cosmic Encounter.
Did not put it on my list.
But I did because he told me I had to, because he didn't want to look bad for putting it himself on the list, but I did. put it on the...
I don't even know what any of that sentence just meant.
Anyway, Cosmic Encounter, there's a lot of things here that could be taken the legacy route because there's so many aspects to the game. Decks of cards, alien powers themselves, planets in play, all that kind of stuff. And I like the idea of modifying that from game to game, where this one would probably not be so much your story that you take from game to game, but a game that changes. And you can just take that copy and give it to someone else. You can take somebody else's copy, no matter where they are. And it's like you're playing a different version of the same game. You know, when you open it up, you lay out the planet, you go, ooh, that planet's been fought over a lot, so it's only worth half a point because it's all bombed out. And, oh, that alien in this game has this secondary power or whatever. That's what I'm talking about, you see? Mm. So, where it wouldn't matter if you jump into it later on, because that stuff doesn't have a player memory. It's just a game memory. That'd be interesting. You could swap copies with someone, try each other's version of the game, you know. That's sort of what I was thinking with this one. It sounds cool. It sounds like it could be interesting. I love that sci-fi stuff, like you said, anyway, too. So that's my number 6, Cosmic Encounter. You're welcome, Tom.
I think it's fine the way it is.
It's okay.
Number 5.
All right, my number 5 is Zombicide Black Plague. Ooh. And the reason I went with Black Plague is because I just like that.
Does it start before the plague? Like it starts out and there's like just one guy stumbling down the street towards you?
And you're like fighting against the plague at first. And then it evolves into, no, this has gotten out of hand, and now we have to actually fight the zombies as well. But the reason I chose Black Plague is because I like that setting better than the modern or futuristic post-apocalyptic. I just like that setting more. It could also work with regular Zombicide. So
I think it is post-apocalyptic, just in a different century.
Right, it's not modern post-apocalyptic. It's
alternate history.
Historical apocalyptic.
Post-apocalyptic.
It's also an
very
alternate
confusing
world. There's things there that didn't exist. So, right?
No, there's definitely magic in the Middle Ages.
There was. He said that like super serious. I like it.
But I just thought it would be I think it would be cool to almost do not really a pandemic type thing in the beginning, but just have it start off that way, and then you have to follow that same cadre of characters throughout the entire thing, hopefully to see it through to its fruition and fix the problem or die trying. But I just thought it would be an interesting idea. My number 5 is Zombicide Black Plague.
Cool. My number 5 is Robinson Crusoe. And this one, it would be the game as it is now.
How can you do that legacy? We die every game.
I know, it would have to be slightly easier, Ignacy. Now it is scenario driven, where you have one thing, but you play once, first scenario, whatever. Play a second scenario, has nothing to do with that first one. You reset, everything's brand new, and so I like the idea of having a campaign mode where you land on the island at first, and then you survive this game. You might have even sub-objectives, right? Like, for this game, we need to build shelter and gather enough wood to survive that storm on the horizon. Whatever, right? And then, having done that, the second game is you have shelter because you built it, you have food, you are now being hunted on the island by some predator. This game, survive the predator, try to kill it, which might be like an optional part of that.
Right.
That's super. That could be really neat. Your guys get better. You could have people die. You might find new survivors on the island. All that stuff.
This would need a great story written in it.
Yeah. So I would play the heck out of that one. Robinson Crusoe, my number 5. Sounds very cool.
My number 5 is Suburbia. This is the other one on my list that doesn't have that strong theme, but I think Suburbia, the theme itself of the city growing. You're building a city, and then next time you play, you might start with some different things because, you built that last time. Or maybe you play Suburbia, and it takes place over 1,000 years, and each time it's 100 years goes in between one city from the next. That'd be interesting, right? You start in the year 1500, go all the way up to 2500.
I guess for me, the problem with that concept is it's a very... how do I put this? It's a very faceless experience. There is no me in the game. I don't know if that makes sense. There's no There's no one I represent in the game.
We'll stick them in there. We'll have the Citizen Z.
Ooh, with zombies? I'm on board now, post-apocalyptic.
I don't know, but I think that a city could grow from time to time. Every 100 years,
You're thinking Sim City, the board game.
I am.
And I'm thinking, I'm going to pass on that, but you have fun with it. I'm sure it'll be fine.
Remember, sometimes some of you think Z is a nice guy? This is where I mouth, help me to the camera. And let's move on.
Number 4.
All right, my number 4 is another zombie game, and this one is called Dead of Winter. And
Heard of it.
This one is a little bit more. I was kind of a little bit more fuzzy, but I really liked the idea that I had, and that is where, you know, sometimes bad things happen and those locations will get destroyed. So no longer can we go to the police station to get stuff and get those foods. And as the game goes, you will find fewer locations that you can go to, which means it's going to be harder to get different things, but you'll branch out and explore other areas. You'll find another police station that's further away. You have to take 2 turns to go out that way instead of just, boom, I'm at the thing. So maybe you have to roll that thing twice, that die twice, instead of just going once.
He hates his players.
So I just thought it would be an interesting idea to add in that, because it just seemed kind of static. We're all holed up in this one town that, yeah, it has zombies running around, but nothing ever really happens to any of these locations. I just thought it would be interesting to say that, oh yeah, some things can. I mean, if a place gets overrun, it's overrun. We're not going back there anymore. You know, so I just thought it would be an interesting thing to have that. Also, on top of that, you know, and the Long Night kind of brought this in to upgrade your compound. But
Right.
in the Legacy game, those upgrades stay for the next game. They don't go away, you know?
Right.
So I just thought it would be an interesting thing to have Dead of Winter legacyized. And that is my number.
There could be some city building
4.
in it. You build the city up, say over like...
Stop trying to make him feel bad.
Jerk. Hey, have you noticed though, a lot of the games that we talk about being good legacy games already have some expansions, because expansions are almost a legacy experience.
Yeah.
Because even... Nah, it's about to be a spoiler.
Ooh.
Don't do it then. We get what you mean, yeah.
You know what I mean. But I'm just saying
you're right.
you could take a game with its expansions and say part of those expansions are part of the base game as the legacy thing.
Yes.
And that's kind of like a legacy aspect. You know, there's sometimes you get an expansion with 7 modules and you're like, adding all these modules, man, once you add them all, the whole game's different. Yeah, well, that's kind of what a legacy game does. Adds a little bit at a time.
Right.
All right, my number 4 game is Xia. I really like the theme of Xia, where you're the ship going around and exploring things, and I would love if that was like amplified. Hey, this little outpost here suddenly by game 7 or 8 is an empire that you have to deal with, and that stupid pirate is chasing you around, and now he has a fleet of ships coming after you, and he remembers in round 2 you blew his ship up.
Right.
And then if your character gets killed, no big deal. You come back in the next game as a different character, but it's the same universe. The universe is growing and expanding from game to game. I think that'd be exciting. I know you guys weren't a big fan of the system, but I like the sandbox. You know what? Xia.
No, I like that. That sounds pretty cool. Those sci-fi epics all lend themselves pretty well to this idea.
Yeah, they do.
I actually crossed a couple off my list. I had a few other sci-fi games on my list for that reason.
All right, my number 4, we are on 4s, yes?
Yeah.
Is one, again, it's a little bit more of a leap. It's one that would take a lot more designer prowess than I can muster in my head.
Rook.
But this is Libertalia. Rook. Spades. Legacy. Libertalia is a pirate game in which you have your own crew of pirates, which happens to be in that game identical to everybody else's crew of pirates for some reason. That doesn't really make any,
That's true.
doesn't make any sense.
Your cook looks like my cook. Alternate timeline.
But it would be neat if you had the starting scenario, the very basis of the game would be that concept, and then my deck of characters will change as compared to your deck of characters, and eventually my cook is very different from yours. my whatever stowaway is very different from yours, whatever the case may be. And I like that concept of it. You're going out there, you're plundering, you are grabbing loot, you're going to take it, bury it, go try to find somebody else's loot, dig it back up, whatever the case may be. But that game revolves around character selection and characters that evolve. And I mean my own deck, not a common deck. That's an interesting idea to pursue. So this one really is sort of a card game, Legacy, because that game's mostly cards. So I'd like to see that. A pirate game, Legacy. And the one that I thought of was Libertalia.
There could be a part in the game where you have to take that character that you've built up a little bit and just throw them away.
You could like make somebody walk the plank or whatever. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Or the game just says, do away with that character.
Wow.
Start over.
If somebody, they could have infamy also attached to them. If someone's really, really bad, like the world, the authorities come after them and you have to kick them out of your crew, they'll come after your ship.
He's totally missing it, but
I am. I guess I don't get the joke. I can tell you're trying to make a joke.
The one thing that you loved.
Okay, anyway, he's saying you start with the pirates, so you get 9 pirates, and then you just rip them up for no reason.
Got it.
I'm going to name him Hugh Cares.
I got it.
Number 3.
My number 3 is Defenders of the Realm, although it could be Defenders of the Last Stand, too.
There you go. That one, post-apocalyptic one.
He's such a
Keep
junkie.
ringing that bell.
I like it.
There'll be like his major world-ending devices. He will be outside, and we're like, oh no, and he'll be like, oh, finally.
I know, right? He's like,
He already has the gray spray paint ready. Oh,
Exactly.
I'm ready.
Witness me, guys.
well, that's disgusting.
But anyway, I like Defenders of the Realm or Defenders of the Last Stand as these groups come in and you rescue the city, but that could change. I like to see the factions change over time. I'm thinking very similar to the risk legacy aspects. Your characters that you're fighting them off with, they're growing and changing, and in the case of Last Stand, mutating.
Right.
But so then you deal with these other people. Now there's suddenly these things coming in, they've mutated wings. Or those guys with motorcycles.
Are you thinking like from game to game you would just continue to attempt to salvage the city? Like protect the city?
Yeah, you're constantly protecting the city.
Each game is just one new wave of attack upon you, basically.
Well, it could change. Just like Pandemic Legacy started out, cure 4 diseases.
Right.
But that changed. So this would be the same way. Your initial thing is defend the city. That could change. Maybe there's another outpost you have to go defend now.
It'd be interesting if at some point they took the city.
Then you got to retake
You got to reclaim the city.
Yeah.
You're the one doing the attacking into the city.
Make this game. All
That's cool. I like that.
right, what's your number 3?
All right, my number 3 is a game that, as long as they reuse the artwork in this one in their Legacy game, pretty sure I'll be happy. I don't care about anything else. I'm talking about Abyss. And Abyss, again, it's the setting. It's the setting and the artwork, but largely the setting that really did it for me. I would love to see a Legacy game set in that universe.
In that universe. You're not talking about the game. I can't
Yeah.
imagine that game being a Legacy game, but I can imagine that universe.
Yeah, I want to see that game. And even if it is politically driven, because that game, the overtones
Sure.
are, the concept, the story, what you're supposed to be doing. What you are doing is grabbing cards. What you're supposed to be doing is almost a Roman council scheming concept.
No, I get the
In that
theme.
setting, under the sea, with the beasties and the whole, don't do it.
Life down
Don't
here
do
is
it.
better.
Under the sea.
Take it from me.
Better.
Anyway, or anywho, I should say. I like it. I like it a lot. That would be.
That was a low blow.
Was it?
I feel
Yeah.
Low hanging fruit. I'm sorry.
The ref just broke you up and said, "No more of this, guys."
All right. I love you now.
That's too far.
Your turn.
I like you.
My number 3 has already been mentioned by somebody.
What?
No.
A crossover?
Hold up. Wait a minute.
Who is it?
Let me think about. Oh, never mind.
Star Wars Rebellion.
Star Wars Rebellion is correct.
I was actually going to pick that for your number 1.
Star Wars Rebellion, no, it's not my number 1 because it would be hard to pull off. It would be really hard to pull
You
off.
Star Wars
But if
junkies.
you were able to pull it off, and this is exactly what you said, somebody blows Kashyyyk up, it's dead. It's gone.
No noise.
Yeah,
He's dead.
It would be silence because thousands voices
Sounds
cried
of
out in
Wookiee silence.
yes.
I love Wookiees.
I love
I
cookies.
would have a lot of nice rugs though if that happened.
No, you would have nothing.
It would be incinerated, vaporized actually. But anyway, that's the kind of thing I was thinking about, where the board actually changes when a planet gets blown up. Yeah, it's actually gone. I mean, Alderaan never came back, right? So I mean,
So far.
that's correct.
That's what
So-
Star Wars Episode 8 is about.
Yeah, right. Repiecing.
All the king's horses and all the king's
So,
men.
but on top of that, I think that, a major cataclysm would mean that, or stealing the right plans means that the Empire doesn't have the technology for a Death Star again. So now they have to.
make a Death Moon instead. Or like a Death Asteroid.
They could call it Star something or other. Huh. That would be interesting. Anyway, I think Star
Apologize
Wars
for all the dumb
Rebellion,
jokes on this
for
video,
all
everybody.
the reasons he already said, I was thinking pretty much the same thing. My number 3, Star Wars Rebellion.
Cool.
Number 2.
Well, we have more. Was that the first crossover we had? That
Yes.
last one?
Yes.
Might be the only one, I think.
Yeah. You think there might be more?
I think there's at least one more.
I think there's at least 2 more then. I see your one and I raise you one. Poker Legacy is my number 2. No, come on.
I don't think I'm going to.
Claustrophobia is my number 2.
That's the one that you're going to cross over with.
Claustrophobia.
Claustrophobia?
Yeah, right.
Oh,
He
okay.
hates that game.
I don't hate it.
But I
don't hate it. I just don't love it. There's a difference. You can actually feel neutral in games.
I hate you. I loved you a minute ago. Remember that? That was just a minute ago. Anyway, Claustrophobia is a game in which it's a made-up world, a lot like Black Plague, actually. It's like that around that same time,
Yeah.
but alternate world, whatever, where they are going down into these caverns and fighting demons and beasties and stuff down there. And I like that setting. It's very dark. It's very, not post-apocalyptic, but it's very
Yeah, well,
horrific.
feels like it.
It's
That's
a
why.
horror setting, and I like that. And I would like to see that as a legacy style game where you can actually discover a cavern that you can then revisit, and you can clean out that cavern. Maybe set it up as an outpost to be closer to another leg of the cleaning out the tunnels or whatever. That's what I'm talking about. Having not just the map you go through like the game now with big tiles you discover, but then having like another board on the side that you will put stickers on to know this is what this tunnel looks like because I've explored it
Ooh,
already.
that's okay. I like that.
You see what I'm saying? I know if I go this way, this is what it will look like. I don't have to draw a blind tile. I can just set it up because I know what it is. You see what I'm saying? I like that concept. And so, yeah, that's what I would like.
Do the characters get names in this legacy?
That would be great because they're right now what
Convict 1 and Convict 2?
Convict B and Convict C. Yeah, they're not very.
How did you go from numeric to
very-
alpha there?
Because
Convict 1.
alphanumeric, baby.
Just go. What's your number 2?
One or
Okay.
two. I don't know what
My
they are
number
letters
two.
and numbers.
My number 2, if done properly, could be what Seafall wanted to be.
Ooh.
Merchants and Marauders?
Glenn Drover's Empire's Age of Discovery.
Oh, that's a good choice.
Because, I mean, if you take the system that Empire's already uses, that was one of my main things with Seafall, is that it was trying to teach you a new game on top of all this other legacy stuff.
I don't mind that if the game would have been fascinating.
Right.
Was it?
I already like Empire's Age of Discovery. I already like that system. I already like all the stuff about that. So take some of those legacy aspects and add them into it. It's basically the same time period,
Right.
without all of the supernatural stuff that came in Seafall.
Sure.
It's there.
Spoiler-filled top 10 list. Never thought I'd see the day.
I think it's ripe for the picking. I think it's actually a low-hanging fruit, to be honest with you. I don't.
Is it the theme that you like? You want a legacy game set in that high seas time?
I think it would be really
Colonization, I guess, not really.
really cool to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
that.
yeah.
I think it would be really cool to
I
do
like the
that.
theme of that.
Yeah, I like it too.
If you like, for example, if you fail, like if you're landing in a certain area in the New World, and you can have a roll for failing or what have you, the indigenous peoples in that area are now more. It's more difficult later on to settle that area.
Wait, you are sounding like you're designing Seafall.
Again, I think with a system that already works well,
Okay.
Seafall
So
would
you
not
want it
have
to be
been a
much
bad
more of
game.
a more of a worker placement aspect, though. Keep that of it, I assume.
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Can we throw a little Libertalia in there?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, I'll help you out.
My number 2 has already been spoken for.
Uh-oh.
From whom? Crossover with whom?
Sam,
Oh, you
Police
guys don't
Precinct.
love me.
you're right.
Yep.
Which one did he say?
Police Precinct.
Oh, yeah.
I think the story, but I would do the opposite of Sam. I would start with the city have almost no crime. It's a peaceful city. And then gangs start invading.
Ooh,
And then
it's like
slowly
a
gets
Charles
worse
Bronson
and worse.
movie, son.
And the end of the game
Oh.
turns into the police
You're just
precinct.
walking around alone with a death.
He's always talking about how there's like those 3 blocks with all that crime. Well, that's because of police
That's
precinct
the
legacy.
last stand.
That's the last part.
That's the Alamo, baby.
Beforehand,
Got it.
it was a peaceful place.
Got it. I'm just worried it would be boring at first. I mean, what are you doing? I'm just doing my paperwork today. I mean, what would the first game
No,
of that
because police
concept be?
precinct has a lot of
You know?
interesting. Like, you're chasing down people. You have to chase the people who are speeding, and it's your small time crime, but you still have to deal with it. Oh, there's a guy robbing something over here, but then the gangs show up.
Like, eventually you get to, like, a crime boss.
Okay.
That's interesting. That
Then
could work. That could work.
You didn't go mocking there.
And then halfway
No,
through,
I'm serious. I'm
Halfway
trying to
through,
think of it.
you had that look. You were
halfway
like,
through, Batman shows up.
I'm gonna get you. No,
and then it's
no.
like, bam! You got it.
No, I like it, Tom. I support you, and I would play this game with you, even though I don't particularly like Police Precinct. That legacy idea sounds good.
All right, you know that they'll probably make this one. Of all the ones on the list, I feel like Police Precinct Legacy has the highest possibility of being made.
Really?
I think the designer would go, "That's a good idea," and he would make it. Have you met him?
Yeah, okay.
Okay,
He's a go-getter.
All right.
And finally, number 1.
All right, here we go.
All right, so we're rolling lowest, yes? Lowest goes first?
Well, it depends what the rules are in this legacy variant.
I get it.
6.
I would sticker a second 20 on the die.
I think this
Now that would be
this
cool.
one has definitely been given the legacy treatment. It is now a hieroglyphic. What is that?
That's pretty funny. You guys can't see it. That's
It looks
funny.
like one of my kids drew on that die slightly.
All right, here
Like
we
All
go.
right, I got
every
a 19, man.
I got a 5.
All right, so we're going to go, let's see, I'm trying to think. We're going to go down this way.
Has yours been set already?
It has. It has been.
Really?
Yes,
All
it
right,
has.
let's guess. Let's guess.
Interesting.
I'm gonna
Ooh,
guess that Z's is
It's on your
not
list,
me.
Sam.
on, on Sam's.
It's on mine?
Yes.
Is it Black Plague?
It is Black Plague.
Oh, there you go.
Zombicide Black Plague.
You're really
is my
feeling that
number
game
one.
these days.
And I like the idea of having a legacy game in that style, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I like a lot of the games on my list sort of have that similar vibe. City Horror would be like a zombie overrunning a city. And this one just would zero in on that fight, boots on the ground kind of thing in Zombicide Black Plague. In that game, you always have those necromancers who run on the board and then try to run out.
Yeah.
Those guys are faceless. If they were specific
Wow.
characters,
For another couple months.
Right, yeah.
Summer is showing up, remember? You're gonna hate him.
No longer faceless.
no, that's fine. But I mean, they come on the board. You're like, okay, fine, he showed up, whatever. What if it was like a specific character who you knew, who was one of the main ones stirring the pot, all this stuff. I like that concept of giving personalities to the necromancers, of having specific characters evolve, get better. Maybe even some of the zombies could evolve, get better. You could have the abomination
Oh, I hate those guys already.
be one specific character, and they
And one of them evolves if he survives.
Yeah,
around,
yeah.
Oh,
that
that's
kind of
interesting.
Evolves and becomes an alpha or something like that.
Yeah,
Oh, okay,
right,
I
They
like
already
that.
have alpha abominations in the game.
right.
So
Of like
just
other-
providing context for why they became alphas. That would be cool.
So that's my number one. It's just, I don't know. When I thought about it, I was like, man, I would play that game. Yeah, that sounds real good. So that's my number one. Zombicide Black Plague.
My number 1 has not been mentioned yet. I think that this one has the best potential as a legacy game.
You just
Really?
said that about Precinct.
No, he said
Well, that's why
that
it's
one's
number
most
2.
likely to get made.
Oh,
Yeah.
I see.
Now, this one I think could really be done well. Z does not like the original game because he has no soul. Sam and
Splendor
I
Legacy.
both like it. Splendor Legacy.
Where you take the chips,
That's called Splendorific.
Oh
you
my.
take the poker chips, and you put a different sticker on them.
No, halfway through the game, you have to break open the poker chip, and inside, different counter.
chocolate.
Anyway, we're getting off track here. This is from Plaid Hat, but not Dead of Winter.
Not Dead of Winter.
I didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
All right, well, I'll just say it.
Didn't like
What is it? Yeah, I don't know.
Spectre Ops.
Oh,
I really think Spectre
yeah,
I
Ops.
thought
yeah.
about this one.
I really thought Spectre Ops would lend itself well because you're going in, you do a mission, and then you go through maybe the next time, and easy to have multiple boards for multiple
XCOM,
missions.
what Sam was saying about XCOM is
Yeah,
kinda
a
what
little
you
bit,
want.
but the bad guys are. I don't know who's bad in this game anyway,
Start
but
to learn your tricks.
right, and so they're getting new
The
equipment.
wolf gets a better smell for your scent.
His
so he
snout
can,
gets longer and longer, and
yes,
he can
exactly.
smell better.
Yeah. until
I
he
just think it
stops
has a
lying.
lot of potential. You know, I'm slowly getting more stuff. I'm going in, doing different missions each time. You know, you can
I like
build
that. I like
walls.
that. Okay.
I think that would be really cool. I really like Spectre Ops,
Yeah.
but you know, each game is pretty much the same game.
Would you
right?
have like a base you go back to and build up and so?
Possibly, yeah.
You could have a suburbia idea there, actually, for real, no joke. But you could have like
I like how you have to actually
I have to
explain
sometimes
that.
because
No,
you guys
I'm
think
being
I'm
real
joking
here.
sometimes when I'm not joking. You could build that up, the HQ, and have different buildings give you new abilities when you go out on the field.
Yeah. I would really like this a
That's
lot.
interesting. That's interesting. Cool.
That's cool.
All right, has your number one been said yet?
It has not. It has
Well, that was
not.
it for crossovers.
Is it Twilight
Just two
Imperium
crossovers.
3?
No, it is not.
Or Blood Rage?
It is not.
Okay, well then, give us a clue.
I was actually, I always thought that, like, for example, Band of Brothers is one of my favorite.
Here's a Normandy.
No.
Memoir?
Why did that one? Yeah, it's Memoir. Band of Brothers is one of my favorite TV shows because it follows
Memoir.
one specific group of guys throughout the entirety of their
That
service
is why I
in the
said
war.
Heroes of Normandy, because it's a slightly closer focused look at the characters.
I guess so. But what I'm saying here is that you could still do the same thing. Memoir 44 Legacy does not have to be on the same battalion level
Right.
fighting. It can scoot in.
Oh, you're saying it has the same name,
Yeah.
but it's kind of a different game.
But it's
oh, okay.
correct.
You would just
So-
call it memoir because it wouldn't be probably over the years.
Correct. Memoir Legacy.
Memoir.
Yeah,
The
Memoir Legacy.
game.
I thought that
Ooh,
would be cool because
it's hot.
you could find you'd follow the same group of guys, the same platoon, the same company, whatever, throughout the entirety of the war. And as I was thinking about that, I was thinking that the campaign books already kind of do this, but they really don't.
Okay.
Because you can't change the dudes at all.
Right.
Your troops stay the same throughout the entirety of the thing. You might get other abilities in between the different missions. You might get a weapon here or some extra supplies over here. But for the
like
most
that.
part,
I like that.
your troops don't actually change. I thought that would be a cool
It
addition.
almost sounds like an RPG, actually, right? I mean, it's sort of like an RPG
but
style.
it's not. It's actually played on a board.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you can
yeah.
still keep all of the different modular aspects of Memoir because you're still going through each of these different battles. But it's just kind of focused in a little bit. I thought it would be a good idea.
Interesting.
Memoir Legacy.
Cool.
Number one.
I wouldn't mind that, folks. What do you think should be made a legacy game? Where are we wrong? What have we missed? Who out there is going to actually make a legacy game? These are hard games to make. They really are.
Yeah.
It's easy
Take a
for us
long
to make up
time,
these
too, you
ideas,
know?
right?
Yeah, the
Oh, you
ideas
should do
are-
this, but as you can see just from past, legacy games are very fragile. There's like even Pandemic Legacy. If someone got the wrong card in the wrong place, it messed up the whole
Yeah,
game.
it's tough. I mean, and plus having an FAQ for this kind of game is a beast
Yeah.
because of every corner case. They're tough to make, but thinking about them is fun. And I do want to hear what folks have to say about what they'd like to see as a legacy game. you know.
Definitely.
All righty, well, until next time, I'm Tom Vassell.
Z Garcia, thanks everybody.
Sam Healy. See you on the flip side, y'all.